3 days after the Black Tower collapsed, Lin Jin drew 5 inches of cinderless for the first time. The test took place in the Ashes Reserve's underground sealed training field number 3. The military had activated 3 layers of mental isolation arrays. The outer layer was a standard anti-pollution barrier. The middle layer was a high-level Fate Realm suppression field requested personally by Zhang Zhaoyue. The innermost layer was a city-guarding throne pressure lock placed by Chen Beixuan himself. This was not a normal training setup. It was closer to the containment level for a mid-risk rift. The reason was simple. The first seal of Cinderless had opened, and no one knew what would happen when Lin Jin truly used it. He stood at the center of the training field. Beside the black blade mark on his palm, a thin gray line had appeared. It looked like ash left behind by fire. When his spiritual energy moved, it glowed faintly beneath his skin. Zhang Zhaoyue watched from the control platform. Shen Qing, Qin Yu, and the other candidates observed from behind reinforced glass. Chen Beixuan stood alone near the rear of the chamber. Begin, Zhang Zhaoyue said. Lin Jin closed his hand. Cinderless appeared. This time, the rust did not cover the whole blade. 5 inches of the edge had turned black and clean, burning with silent dark flame. The training construct across from him activated. It carried layered pollution, false spiritual contracts, mental hooks, and a simulated parasitic core. Lin Jin raised the blade. The world slowed. Lines appeared. Pollution, possession, contract, erosion, false connection. For the first time, he could see more than the core. He could see the things that bound the core to everything around it. One cut. The construct did not explode. It simply came apart. Every link was severed cleanly. The readings on the control platform froze. Zhang Zhaoyue stared at the data. Pollution severed. Parasitic connection severed. Mental contract severed. Fate realm erosion severed. She slowly looked up. All at once. Behind the glass. Qin Yu said nothing. Shen Qingyi's expression became even more serious. Chen Beixuan watched Lin Jin and thought of a name no official archive in the 9th safe zone was allowed to speak aloud. Lin Junyue. Before the test results could be fully sealed, the Central Review Court arrived. They came from the 1st safe zone. Their black vehicles entered the base under military escort. The lead inspector wore a white formal coat, and every movement carried the arrogance of someone used to being obeyed. Lin Jin is to be transferred for Central Containment Review, the inspector said. Chen Beixuan stood at the entrance of the command hall. He is a registered candidate of the 9th Safe Zone Ashes Reserve. He is a suspected inheritor of a sealed high-risk Fate realm. Suspected, Chen Beixuan repeated. Not convicted. The inspector smiled thinly. 20 years ago, the first Zero Fate realm inheritor was also protected by local commanders. The result nearly became humanity's greatest hidden threat. The hall fell silent. Lin Jin, standing behind Han Tai, raised his eyes. The first inheritor, he said. You mean my father? The inspector looked at him. So you know. I know he died defending the wall. That is the version suitable for students. The words were quiet, but they struck harder than an attack. Lin Jin's hand tightened. Chen Beixuan's voice turned cold. Enough. The inspector did not step back. Commander Chen, if you obstruct Central Review, you will bear responsibility for every consequence. Before Chen Beixuan could answer, the entire base shook. The alarm did not ring once. It screamed. Red light flooded every corridor. An emergency broadcast came through. Broken by static. Large-scale star tide detected south of the city. Outer defense line breached. Southern wall impact in progress. Medical district evacuation requested. The review court had not finished speaking. The disaster had already arrived. From the southern observation deck, The star tide looked like a moving black ocean. Thousands of star bones poured across the wilderness. Among them moved larger bodies, mutated forms, and towering silhouettes with starlight burning in their ribs. At the center of the tide, something like a crown-shaped shadow raised its head. Starbone King. Chen Beixuan walked toward the battlefield without hesitation. I will hold the king. He looked back once. Ashes candidates. Protect the inner city evacuation routes. Then the city guarding throne rose into the sky. The battle for the 9th safe zone began. The outer city fell first. The southern wall held for 17 minutes before a section collapsed. Under the tide's impact, starbones flooded through the breach. Military units fought street by street, buying time for civilians to withdraw. Lin Jin's team was assigned to the medical district route. At first, he thought it was because of the hospital. Then the nameless soul envoy spoke in his soul. They are not only attacking the city. Lin Jin's heart sank. What are they targeting? The answer came before the envoy could speak. Every pollution line in the district bent toward the same place. The first hospital. Lin Xiaoman. Lin Jin ran. He ran harder than he had ever run in training. Shen Qingyi's lightning cleared the path ahead. Qin Yu smashed through starbones blocking the evacuation route. Zhao Peng and the logistics team dragged wounded civilians into armored shelters. But more starbones kept coming. Not toward the crowd, toward the hospital. When Lin Jin reached the special ward, the outer defense had already failed. The window was broken. Medical staff were unconscious. Lin Xiaoman lay inside the treatment chamber, her face pale, while black star-shaped marks spread faintly beneath her skin. Above her, pollution lines twisted into something like a crown. Not ordinary contamination, a royal mark. Lin Jin's vision went cold. What is this? The nameless soul envoy answered. A lock. Who placed it? Something that once the door opened from both sides. Outside the ward, a massive starbone tore through the corridor. Shen Qing shouted. Lin Jin. He turned. The hospital was surrounded. The evacuation route was collapsing. His sister was being targeted. The city was burning. Cinderless trembled in his hand. But 5 inches was not enough. The nameless soul envoy's voice became severe. If you force the second summon now, the price will not be small. Lin Jin looked at Lin Xiaoman. She opened her eyes weakly. Brother. He smiled at her. Sleep a little longer. Then he turned toward the approaching tide. I do not have a road back. The gray line on his palm split open. Pain tore through his body as if every bone had become a blade. His spiritual pressure, once the lowest among the candidates, surged violently. The black wasteland inside his soul shook. The distant bone palace opened its gates. Cinderless rose. 6 inches. Then 7. The second summon began. In the center of the ruined medical district, a white bone throne appeared. It did not descend with light. It arrived with silence. The starbones closest to it stopped moving. On the throne sat a young girl in pale robes, her bare feet resting on bone steps. She looked no older than Lin Xiaoman, but her eyes carried the weight of countless dead battlefields. Behind her, white bone chains swayed gently in the air. She looked at Lin Jin and smiled. So you are the heir. Lin Jin forced himself to stand. Can you fight? The girl on the throne tilted her head. Rude. Then she raised one finger. Every starbone within the street was nailed to the ground by white bone spears. The candidates stared in shock. The nameless soul envoy spoke from Lin Jin's shadow. Soulblade Royal Court. 7th seat. Throne of Bones. The girl laughed softly. Do not use that old title. It makes me sound obedient. Together, Lin Jin and the white bone girl entered the battlefield. Shen Qing and Qin Yu cleared the bodies. The white bone throne suppressed the tide. Lin Jin cut the pollution cores. Above the city, Chen Beixuan fought the Starbone King until the sky itself seemed to crack again. Blood fell like rain from the air. The southern wall burned. The military line bent, but did not break. Then Lin Jin saw the king's core. Not in its chest, not in its head. Behind it, connected to the tide through a black crown-shaped line. The white bone girl glanced at him. Can you cut it? Lin Jin raised Cinderless with both hands. I can try. Trying is ugly, she said. Then I will cut it. The throne moved. White bone chains locked the Starbone King's shadow for one breath. Chen Beixuan struck from above. Shen Qingyi's lightning split the battlefield. Qin Yu roared and drove his tyrant body into the tide to open a path. Lin Jin stepped through all of it. Cinderless burned black. He cut the crown line. The Starbone King screamed for the first time. Its body collapsed into ash across the southern battlefield. The tide lost its will. By dawn, the 9th safe zone still stood. Broken, bleeding, but standing. In the hospital, Lin Xiaoman's royal mark faded back beneath her skin. The white bone girl sat on her throne beside the broken ward window. Watching Lin Jin with interest. You are weaker than I expected. Lin Jin leaned against the wall, too tired to lift his head. You are more annoying than I expected. She smiled. Good. At least you are not boring. Far away, beyond the star door, a man bound in darkness opened his eyes. Lin Junyue looked down at a strand of gray ash that had drifted into his palm. His cracked lips moved slightly. Jin. In the deeper darkness, countless vast eyes opened, and on a high platform behind the door, a white-clothed man holding a cracked silver key smiled. Your son is faster than you were. Lin Junyue did not answer. He only closed his hand around the ash. Somewhere in the dark, the first chain on his body gave a faint crack. Lin Jin woke to the sound of rain. It tapped against the blast-proof glass of First Hospital. Soft and steady, as if the city outside had decided to speak in a whisper after the star tide nearly tore it apart. The sky was gray. The southern wall could not be seen from the ward. Neither could the broken wilderness beyond it. The whole 9th safe zone seemed wrapped in cold mist. Alive, but not yet willing to breathe loudly. His first feeling was not pain. It was emptiness. His body felt hollow. In the black wasteland inside his soul, Cinderless stood before the white bone palace. Quiet and dim. After forcing himself into the second rank and killing the Starbone King, Lin Jin had spent almost everything he had gained. If Yu Baishuang had not steadied his spirit at the last moment, he might still be asleep. Then a familiar voice came from the bedside. You're awake? Lin Jin turned his head. Lin Xiaoman sat beside the bed with a thermal cup in both hands. Her face was paler than before the battle. There were shadows beneath her eyes, but her gaze was clear. Lin Jin's first words were not gentle. Why are you out of bed? Xiaoman blinked. Brother, you just woke up and you're already scolding me? He tried to sit up. A tearing pain ran through his chest and forced him back onto the pillow. Xiaoman quickly pressed his shoulder down. The doctor said you can't move. I asked why you are out of bed. I'm better. He looked at her in silence. She lowered her voice. Really? Much better. Lin Jin did not believe simple words anymore. The star tide had targeted Xiaoman. What slept inside her was not ordinary pollution, but something closer to a royal mark. The attack had not ended because the monsters were dead. It had only changed shape. Before he could ask more, the door opened. Chen Beixuan entered with Zhang Zhaoyue. The lord of the 9th safe zone looked older than he had before the battle. His coat was still neat, his posture still straight, but the exhaustion around his eyes could not be hidden. You saved the city, Chen said. Lin Jin looked toward the window. Then why does it feel like we lost? Chen Beixuan was silent for a moment. Because we paid enough to remember it. The city had survived, but the outer districts had been broken. Thousands were displaced. Entire streets were waiting for reconstruction. The official reports called the battle a defensive victory. No one in the hospital would have used that word so easily. Then Chen Beixuan told him what came next. The Central Review Court was not leaving. They wanted Lin Jin examined. They wanted Xiaoman examined. They wanted the new Soul Blade Spirit, Yu Baishuang, classified. They wanted the Zero Fate Realm issue reopened under central authority. Lin Jin listened quietly until Chen finished. So they still want to take us away. They want to define you first, Zhang Zhaoyue said. Once they write the definition, taking you away becomes procedure. Lin Jin closed his eyes. In his spirit wasteland, Yu Baishuang sat on the white bone throne with one hand against her cheek. The girl looked no older than Xiaoman, but the pressure around her was ancient. Human courts, she said with amusement. Still fond of pretending chains are language. The nameless soul envoy stood beneath the palace steps. Do not underestimate them. Chains made by cowards can still bind the wounded. Lin Jin opened his eyes. When is the hearing? Tomorrow, Chen Beixuan said. Rain kept falling. The next day, Lin Jin walked into the highest deliberation hall of the 9th safe zone wearing the formal coat of the Ashes Reserve. It was black and gray, with a burning ash emblem on the left chest, not a student uniform. Not a temporary badge. A frontline identity. It was Chen Beixuan's answer before the hearing even began. Lin Jin was not an unclaimed student the review court could remove without resistance. He belonged to the 9th Safe Zone's combat order. The deliberation hall was built around a circular table. 12 projection screens floated above it. Behind each screen stood a department with enough power to decide resources, laws, medical access, military movement, and death lists. The military, the medical bureau, the Academy Alliance, the Safe Zone Council, the Central Review Court, the Pollution Research Institute, and several names Lin Jin had only heard on the news. Today, they were here to judge him. White Shuyuan, the central reviewer, wore a mild smile. He spoke politely, almost softly, but every word landed like a measuring blade. Lin Jin, unknown fate realm, publicly listed as F rank. Actual risk level sealed. Current known summons. Nameless soul envoy, Yu Baishuang. Current ability, severing pollution, parasitism, mental contracts, and fate realm corrosion. The screens flickered with battlefield footage. Lin Jin cutting through the Starbone King. Yu Baishuang descending on the white bone throne. Xiaoman glowing with a mark the medical instruments could not read. White Shuyuan turned to Chen Beixuan. This is not a normal military asset. Chen Beixuan replied. No. He is a person. A person who may open the Zero Fate realm. A person who saved this city. The hall quieted. White Shuyuan then looked at Lin Jin. Summon Yu Baishuang. Everyone understood the trap. If Lin Jin refused, the review court would claim he could not prove control. If he obeyed, Yu Baishuang only had to show a little danger for them to raise her threat level. Lin Jin looked at him. Are you sure you want to meet her? The court requires confirmation. Fine. Chen Beixuan frowned. Zhang Zhaoyue lowered her voice. Think carefully. I have. In the spirit wasteland, Yu Baishuang stood from her throne and smoothed her white sleeve. At last, she said, I get to see what humanity's judgment hall looks like 20 years later. The nameless soul envoy warned her. Do not go too far. Yu Baishuang smiled. Nameless. You are still terribly boring. Lin Jin spoke inside his mind. Yu Baishuang. Here. Do not kill anyone. She tilted her head. May I scare them? Lin Jin was silent for half a breath. Yes. The floor of the hall bloomed with white bone patterns. They were not pollution. They were not ordinary spiritual pressure. They looked like the memory of a throne carved into reality. Yu Baishuang appeared above the table, seated on a small white bone throne, one eye covered by pale hair, the other bright with playful cruelty. Every screen went unstable. Several representatives tried to speak. Their voices failed. White Shuwan's smile finally faded. Yu Baishuang looked around the hall. So these are the people asking whether I am dangerous. No one answered. She laughed softly. Then asked properly. The pressure rose. Not enough to kill. Not enough to injure. Just enough to remind everyone that the girl in white was not a tool in Lin Jin's hand. She was a seat of the Soul Blade Royal Court. A being whose restraint was a choice. Lin Jin let the silence stretch. Then he said, enough. Yu Baishuang immediately withdrew the pressure and smiled as if nothing had happened. That obedience was more frightening than the pressure itself. White Shuyuan stared at Lin Jin. You can command her. No, Lin Jin said. I can make a promise with her. That answer changed the hearing. The court had wanted a weapon they could classify. Instead, Lin Jin showed them a relationship they could not easily measure. Then Yu Baishuang looked toward Xiaomin's medical projection. Her smile vanished. Little lockhole, she said. Lin Jin's face changed. What did you say? Yu Baishuang raised her hand. A thin white thread appeared in the air, stretching from Xiaomin's projection down into the deliberation hall itself. Not toward the hospital, toward the floor beneath the court. Chen Beishuan's eyes turned cold. Zhang Zhaoyue drew her weapon. The entire hall realized the same thing at once. The hearing chamber had been built over an old ceiling array, and that array was responding to Xiaomin. The review court had not simply come to judge Lin Jin. Someone had prepared this place to test his sister as a keyhole. For the first time that day, White Shuyuan looked genuinely surprised. Lin Jin stood. Cinderless appeared in his hand. Who built this? No one answered. The white thread tightened around Xiaomin's projection. In the hospital, alarms began to scream. Her face turned pale, but she did not cry out. Lin Jin looked at the circular table, the screens, the officials, the silent departments. He had been patient because Chen Beishuan needed procedure. He had answered because the 9th safe zone still had laws. But procedure had just reached for his sister. The black blade lifted. White Shuyuan shouted. Lin Jin, stop. He did not stop. One strike fell. Cinderless cut through the deliberation hall floor, through the hidden ceiling thread, through the old array buried beneath the tower. The screens exploded into static. The white thread around Xiaomin snapped. The highest hall of judgment in the 9th safe zone split open beneath Lin Jin's blade. And in the silence after the cut, Lin Jin said only one thing. If you want to judge me, stand in front of me. Do not touch my family. No one in the hall dared to speak first by evening. The hearing had become a crime scene. The military sealed every exit. Engineers searched the underground array. The medical bureau checked Xiaomin again and again. The Pollution Research Institute tried to pretend they knew nothing. The Central Review Court demanded legal restraint and received only Chen Beishuan's cold stare. Someone had hidden a lock targeting ritual beneath the highest deliberation hall. Someone had known Xiaomin would be connected by spiritual projection. Someone had wanted to see what happened when the keyhole responded. Lin Jin sat beside Xiaomin's bed that night. She was tired, but awake. Brother, she whispered. Mother might still be alive. Right? Lin Jin did not lie. I don't know. Xiaomin nodded. Then I want to know too. This is dangerous. Everything around us is dangerous. Her voice was small, but steady. If I really am a lockhole, then hiding from the door won't make it disappear. I want to know what I am before someone else decides for me. Lin Jin looked at his sister for a long time. The little girl he had protected was still there. But after the star tide, after the hospital alarms, after the hidden array, she was no longer willing to remain only protected. The next morning, The Ash's 7th Squad was formally established. The news was not made public. Officially, the post-war report mentioned military commendations and frontline adjustments. Lin Jin's name did not appear. Shen Qing and Qin Yu were listed only as outstanding young summoners from 3rd High School. But inside the military system, a sealed document created a new unit. Ash's 7th Squad. Commander Zhang Zhaoyue. Corps Member Lin Jin. Members Shen Qing, Qin Yu, Zhou Zan, He Shan, Song Weiyu, Ji Yuxing. Special Mission. Investigate the Zero Fate Realm case, the White Prison System, and the missing records connected to Su Wanning. In the new tactical room, 7 Ashes badges lay on the table. They were heavier than the candidate badges. Lin Jin picked up his own. The metal was cold in his palm. Chen Beixuan stood before the squad. From today on, you are no longer students borrowed by the front line. You are the front line. No one joked. Even Qin Yu was quiet. Chen Beixuan continued. Your first direction is K-17. An abandoned transfer station. On paper, it is unrelated to the review court. In reality, it may be tied to the White Prison. The screen lit up with a ruined station on the gray wilderness. Lin Jin saw the file name below it. Su Wanning. His mother's name. The room seemed to narrow around those 3 characters. In his spirit wasteland, the nameless soul envoy looked toward the black sky. Yu Baishuang rested her chin on one hand. Her smile gone. Lin Jin closed his fingers around the Ashes badge. The star tide was over. The real investigation had begun. The night before departure, Lin Jin stayed alone in the tactical room. The Ashes base was quiet in a different way from the hospital. Not clean, not gentle, not peaceful. It was the quiet of a battlefield before the next alarm. Everyone knew another mission was coming. The only mercy was that it had not arrived yet. On the main screen in front of him was Su Wanning's file. His mother looked young in the photo. Calm, clear-eyed, almost impossible to connect with the blurred memory in Lin Jin's childhood. To him, his mother had never been a full person. She was a bedtime song. A hand touching his forehead. A white coat that smelled faintly of herbs. And then, one day, a name that vanished from the house. His father rarely spoke of her. When he did, his voice always changed, as if every word had to pass through a locked door before reaching his mouth. Now the file said Su Wanning had once worked with sealing systems connected to the door beyond the world. She had handled permissions that should not exist in ordinary human records. The hidden array beneath the deliberation hall had reacted to Xiaomin because of something Su Wanning left behind. Mother. Key. White Prison. Lin Jin read the same lines again and again until the words stopped feeling like words. Shen Qing entered without knocking. Lightning blue reflections moved faintly around her fingers. A habit from training. You should sleep, she said. So should you. I tried. She sat beside him and looked at the screen. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then she said, when I first saw you at the awakening ceremony, I thought you were unlucky. Lin Jin gave a quiet laugh. That was polite of you. I also thought you were stubborn. That part was accurate. Shen Qing looked at Su Wanning's photo. Now I think maybe stubbornness is the only reason you are still yourself. Lin Jin did not answer immediately. He had gained power, but not clarity. Every victory opened a larger wound. The more he cut through pollution, the more he saw how deep the old lies went. At dawn, Ash's 7th Squad departed. The official mission name was simple. E442 Low Activity Rift Reconnaissance and Cleanup. The real target was K-17, an abandoned transfer station northwest of the 9th Safe Zone. The armored transport rolled out through the gate while the city behind them was still repairing itself. Smoke no longer rose from the southern outer district. but the air kept a burnt taste. Beyond the walls, the wilderness stretched gray and pale, scarred by 20 years of repeated pollution and cleansing. Inside the vehicle, Sean hugged a weapons case and yawned. Low-activity rift reconnaissance sounds peaceful. Song Wei-yu looked at him lazily. Every time you say that, it stops being peaceful. Sean closed his mouth. Chin Yu flexed his wrists. The E442 label is just a cover. K-17 is the problem. Ji Yuxing checked 3 small mechanical scouting spheres. Official records say K-17 was abandoned 17 years ago. No active staff. No current supply route. No strategic value. Zhou Zan looked at the mission map. Then why hide it? Zhang Zhaoyue answered from the front. Because things with no value are the easiest places to bury value. K-17 appeared at noon. It was not a prison. It looked like a dead logistics station. Cracked landing pads. Collapsed storage bays. A control tower leaning at a slight angle. And walls bleached by gray wind. The sign at the entrance had almost fallen away. Only the K and the number 17 were still visible. But the moment Lin Jin stepped down from the transport, Cinderless trembled. Not from danger. From recognition. In his spirit wasteland, the nameless soul envoy said, "There are old locks here." Yu Baishuang opened one eye. And something has been chewing on them. The squad entered in formation. The first floor held nothing but dust and broken administrative terminals. Ji Yuxing restored partial power. Most records were empty. Not deleted. Empty. As if the station had been built with holes already prepared in its memory. Then Lin Jin found the white room. It was hidden behind a false maintenance wall, sealed by a layer of old array lines. The lines should have been dead. But when Xiaoman's name appeared on Lin Jin's wrist device, they lit for one breath. Inside the room, the walls were clean. Too clean. No dust, no rust, no signs of age except for a single phrase carved again and again into the far wall. White prison does not exist. White prison does not exist. White prison does not exist. Song Wei-yu stopped smiling. That's not creepy at all. Ji Yuxing scanned the wall and found an old memory chip sealed inside the carving. The chip was damaged, but not dead. When he restored the audio, Su Wanning's voice filled the room. The signal broke every few seconds. But her tone was clear. It was the voice of someone who knew she might never return. Forcing the last useful truth into a machine. White prison is not a fixed prison. It is a mobile sealing system built by the surveillance group beyond the door. Every white-level transfer station is part of it. The true core is not on any map. It moves according to lock permissions. So do not trust coordinates. The image flickered. Su Wanning's face appeared, pale and exhausted. Her fingers were bloody. If you must look for me, do not chase white prison. Find the key. The recording distorted. If Xiaoman wakes as the lockhole, protect her choice. Lin Jin's breath stopped. The room was silent. Then the station woke. Silver chains burst from the walls, floor, and ceiling. They were not metal. They were sealing formulas made visible. Thin and sharp, moving like snakes. Zhou Zan raised his oath shield. First 3 chains struck the shield and screamed against it. It is locking my Fate Realm output. Qin Yu rushed forward. Then break it. His Sea Emperor physique erupted. He punched the ceiling puppet that rose from the far wall. A human-shaped figure made of white ceramic and black crystal. The puppet blocked with one arm. The impact shook the corridor. But the puppet did not step back. Shen Qingyi's lightning flashed, cutting 3 chains out of the air. Song Wei-yu vanished into shadow and reappeared behind the puppet, only to retreat as white formulas burned across the floor. Sean slammed down a heavy weapon case. So much for peaceful. Zhang Zhaoyue gave orders with brutal calm. Zhou Zan, hold the front. Qin Yu, pressure the body. Qing, Break the chain nodes. Lin Jin. Find the core. Lin Jin did not charge blindly. He let the battlefield unfold in black lines. The puppet had no normal pollution core. It was not a starbone creature. It was a prison keeper. A machine built to bind output, suppress memory, and erase unauthorized witnesses. But every lock had a seam. Cinderless lifted. The nameless soul envoy said, "Do not cut the puppet. Cut the order it obeys." Lin Jin saw it then. A white command thread running from the puppet's chest into the station floor. He moved through the chains. One grazed his shoulder and tried to numb his spiritual pressure. Another wrapped around his wrist. Shen Qingyi's lightning shattered it before it could close. Qin Yu forced the puppet's guard open with a roar. Lin Jin stepped in. One blade. The white command thread snapped. The puppet froze. Cracks spread across its ceramic face. For a moment, a woman's voice leaked from inside it. Unauthorized key detected. Then it collapsed. Behind the puppet was not a deeper prison, but a small data room. Most of the memory slots had been emptied or burned. Ji Yuxingyi's eyes lit up anyway. Offline backup room. He Shan looked around. Useful? If it was not completely destroyed. Very useful. Ji Yuxing worked with almost frightening speed. His mechanical spheres unfolded tiny arms and began scanning cracked chips one by one. Zhang Zhaoyue put the rest of the squad on guard. Lin Jin stood in the middle of the room, staring at an old symbol on the wall. A white eye. The same symbol that had appeared beneath the deliberation hall. Ji Yuxing recovered fragments. Names. Dates. Station transfer logs. Medical access records. Sealing authority chains. Then one phrase appeared on the screen. Mother of the key. Su Wanning. Song Weiyu whispered. That sounds like a title. Yu Baishuang's voice was colder than usual inside Lin Jin's mind. It is. The recovered file said Su Wanning had not only studied locks. She had rewritten them. She had changed part of the white prison system so that a key could choose whether to open. That was the reason Xiaoman was dangerous. Not because she was a passive vessel. Because her existence might break the oldest rule of the door. That a lock existed only to obey the hand that turned it. Before Ji Yuxing could recover more, K-17 began to erase itself. Not by explosion. By sealing fire. White flames bloomed across the walls and burned symbols out of reality. The station was deleting its own evidence. Move, Zhang Zhaoyue ordered. Zhou Zan smashed open the collapsing frame ahead. He Shan used a sheet of alloy to shield the rear. Qin Yu punched through a sealed passage. Song Weiyu dragged an almost burned backup device out of the shadows. Ji Yuxing shouted, "That one is useless." She grinned. Maybe. Shen Qing laid lightning across the path like a road of blue-white light. Lin Jin stayed at the rear. As the white flames chased them, a voice came from the burning station. It was not Su Wanning. It was older, lower, and patient. Key. Lin Jin stopped. The voice spoke again. Your mother changed the lock. Your sister will open the door. You will cut the chain. Cinderless trembled in his hand. Yu Baishuang stood from her throne inside his spirit. Do not answer. The nameless soul envoy said. Leave. The voice laughed softly. K-23. A coordinate flashed in the white fire. Ji Yuxingyi's drone captured it a heartbeat before the corridor collapsed. Lin Jin turned and ran. The squad burst out of K-17 as the entire transfer station folded inward. Its shape burning out of the gray wilderness until only a shallow white scar remained. No ruins. No station. No proof except the fragments they had carried out. Back on the transport, Ji Yuxing confirmed the captured data. K-23 was not in the 9th safe zone. It was near the border of the 11th safe zone, close to a town called Wuhe. Zhang Zhaoyue looked at Lin Jin. This may be bait. Lin Jin nodded. It probably is. Then, he looked down at the recovered file. Su Wanning's damaged image flickered once before fading. Then we go carefully. In the spirit wasteland, the nameless soul envoy remained silent. Yu Baishuang watched the distant black sky. Far beyond the palace, something like a white door appeared for a single instant and vanished. The white prison did not exist, that was what the wall had said. But Lin Jin now understood the sentence differently. It was not denial. It was a warning. White prison did not exist in one place. It existed wherever someone still believed chains were allowed to decide the shape of a life. 3 days later, Ash's 7th Squad received its first official cross-zone support mission. Mission code X119. Destination Wuhe Town. On the border of the 11th safe zone. The public objective was ordinary enough. Investigate a series of disappearances in a frontier town and rule out low-level rift pollution or starbone parasitism. The real objective sat behind a sealed line of text. Approach the outer edge of central jurisdiction and search for a possible K-23 white prison. Resonance point. For the first time since becoming an Ashes unit, the squad would leave the 9th safe zone. For Lin Jin, it was the first time he would truly see what human order looked like beyond the walls that had raised him. At 7 in the morning, the military transport aircraft rose from the northwest airfield. Lin Jin sat by the window. Below him, the 9th safe zone slowly shrank into lines and blocks. High walls, turrets, inner city, outer city, and the repaired scar where the southern wall had been torn open. From above, the city looked like a person stitched back together after being split open. Still wounded, still alive, Qin Yu leaned back across the aisle. First cross-zone mission. Feels strange. Song Weiyu smiled. Nervous? Excited? That's often worse. Shen Qing studied the mission file. Wuhe Town has reported 23 disappearances in 2 months. Local officials claim 12 returned home on their own. Ji Yuxing adjusted his glasses. Except the returned people have identical medical reports. Same mental stability index. Same memory gap range. Same administrative wording. He Shan frowned. So someone copied the paperwork. Zhang Zhaoyue said. Or someone copied the people. No one laughed. Wuhe Town sat beside a cold river under a permanent layer of pale fog. It was not ruined. That was the first thing that made Lin Jin uneasy. The streets were clean. Shops were open. Residents walked to work with lunchboxes and umbrellas. The town hall stood at the end of the main street, gray, white and ordinary, with the 11th Safe Zone's border administration emblem above the entrance. Everything looked normal. Too normal. The moment Lin Jin walked inside, the unease became sharper. Not fear. Pattern. The notices on the wall were perfectly straight. The clerk's smile appeared at exactly the right time. Citizens waited in line without complaint, without impatience, without the low noise that should belong to any living place. Documents passed from hand to hand. Stamps fell. Terminal tones chimed. Every movement was correct. No movement felt alive. The acting mayor, Liang Shuming, greeted them with a practiced smile. Welcome, Ashes officers. Wuhe Town is grateful for the support. Lin Jin looked at his face. The smile did not reach the eyes. Liang led them to a second-floor meeting room and presented the disappearance files. Ji Yuxing projected them across the table. Names, ages, occupations, last seen locations, minors, clerks, drivers, 2 students, 1 retired guard. All disappeared near the old mining dormitory or the river path. 12 returned. 11 did not. The returned people resumed work within 48 hours. Their families reported no severe distress. Their employers called them stable and cooperative. Song Weiyu tapped one report. A son disappears for 5 days. comes back with missing memories. And his mother describes him as stable and cooperative? Qin Yu's expression darkened. That is not relief. That is editing. Lin Jin closed his eyes. Black lines appeared faintly around the file names. Not pollution lines exactly. More like shadows that had been cut apart and sewn back in the wrong order. We need to see the returned people, he said. Liang Shuming's smile did not change. Of course. But before evening, the squad found the first contradiction. One returned miner had no shadow. Not visibly. Under ordinary light, it was there. But Song Weiyu's shadow hunter realm reacted violently the moment she stepped near him. That is not a shadow, she whispered. It is a patch. The trail led them to the basement beneath the old mining dormitory. There, the town's normal face finally peeled away. Gray threads covered the walls like nerves. Human shadows were pinned to the concrete, swaying in a wind that did not exist. Some were whole. Some were torn. Some had been carefully stitched into shapes that matched living bodies above ground. At the center stood a faceless man wearing Liang Shuming's blue suit. No eyes, no mouth, no expression. But when it spoke, the voice was exactly the acting mayor's. Ashes officers. Wuhe Town does not require investigation. Residents remain stable. Mining operations remain normal. Border trade remains unaffected. Qin Yu laughed coldly. You are very dedicated. The faceless mayor turned toward him. Stability is the prerequisite for survival in border towns. Zhang Zhaoyue drew her blade. What are you? Administrative continuity. Ji Yuxingyi's drone scanned the basement. His face changed. The real Liang Shuming died 37 days ago. The faceless mayor did not deny it. The position continued. He Shan muttered. That is not an answer. Lin Jin looked at the pinned shadows. He understood. The thing had not simply killed people. It had taken the parts of them that screamed, grieved, resisted, and remembered. Then it patched the town so business could continue. No riots. No panic. No missing production. A town of stable citizens with edited souls. The faceless mayor raised both hands. Gray threads tightened across the basement. This town survives because instability was removed. Then a deeper voice leaked from behind it. Key. Lin Jin's grip on Cinderless tightened. The Star-Lord Apostle had arrived. It did not descend as a monster. It spoke through the false mayor. Through the gray threads. Through every stolen shadow in the room. Cut it open. Cut Wuhe Town open. You will see K23. The temptation was precise. Lin Jin wanted the white prison coordinate. He wanted his mother. He wanted the truth behind Xiaoman's lockhole mark. The apostle placed the route directly in front of him. 1/ Break the network. Find K23. But the price would be the entire town's spiritual collapse. Those patched shadows belong to living people. If he severed everything violently, he might free the truth and destroy the minds still attached to it. The nameless soul envoy said. It wants the fastest blade. Yu Baishuang said. Fast blades are often borrowed hands. Lin Jin opened his eyes. Qing. Can you stun the network without burning it? Shen Qing understood immediately. If someone marks the nodes. Ji Yuxing. Already mapping. Song Weiyu. She stepped out of the shadows. Face pale but steady. I can hold the stolen shadows in place for a short time. Qin Yu. Zhou Zan. He Shan. Protect them. Qin Yu grinned. Now that sounds like a plan. The faceless mayor tilted its blank head. Inefficient. Lin Jin lifted Cinderless. Good. The battle did not look heroic. It looked like emergency surgery. Ji Yuxingyi's drones darted through the gray threads, marking spiritual knots. Shen Qingyi's lightning struck with terrifying precision, not exploding, but numbing each node just long enough for Song Weiyu to peel stolen shadows away from the wall. Zhou Zan held the front with his oath shield as waves of gray thread hammered into him. He Shan braced the ceiling when part of the basement began to collapse. Qin Yu fought the faceless mayor head-on, each punch driving it back a step, each step cracking the administrative mask it wore. Lin Jin moved only when a thread revealed the deeper line. He did not cut the town. He cut the command. Cinderless passed through the gray network, severing the order that forced grief into silence, fear into obedience, and memory into blank stability. The faceless mayor split down the middle. For the first time, a sound like a human scream came from inside it. Not one person, many. The pinned shadows fell. Across Wuhe town, people began to wake. The first result was not gratitude. It was collapse. People remembered missing sons, missing wives, complaints they had filed and forgotten, funerals that had never happened because everyone had been made too calm to mourn. Outside the town hall, citizens smashed the acting mayor's sign. In the mining dormitory, rescued victims wept or stared blankly as medics tried to stabilize them. The local border guard arrived 3 hours late. Their first question was not how many had been saved. It was whether Ash's 7th squad had caused disorder in the town. Zhang Zhaoyu's face went cold enough to freeze the fog. Disorder? Qin Yu stepped forward. Your town was being worn like a mask. The officer looked away. Lin Jin did not join the argument. He stood by the river. Wuhe's water was black beneath the fog. Ji Yuxing had found a deeper signal beneath the riverbed, a residue pointing toward K23. Lin Jin, Shen Qing, and Song Weiyu entered the river channel before nightfall. The water was cold in a way that reached the spirit. Electronic equipment distorted within seconds. The riverbed was not mud, but gray sediment made of shredded shadows. Song Weiyu's face tightened. I hate this place. Shen Qing extended a thin line of lightning through the water. There is something ahead. They found the apostle's shell beneath the river. It was not large. A pale body folded around a broken white eye symbol, like a messenger that had worn out many faces and finally returned to its nest when it saw Lin Jin. It smiled without a mouth. You refused the road I gave you. Lin Jin raised Cinderless. I don't like borrowed roads. You still came. On my terms, the apostle laughed. And the river filled with voices. Mother's voice. Xiaoman's voice. His father's voice. Even his own voice. Younger and afraid. Cut faster. Save them. Open the door. Be the key. Shen Qingyi's lightning flared, forcing the voices back. Song Weiyu dragged the apostle's shadow into place with both hands trembling. Lin Jin saw the true line. Not the shell. Not the bait. The order connecting the apostle to the Star-Lord's will. He cut. The river went silent. For one heartbeat, a coordinate burned before his eyes. K23. Then a second line appeared behind it. Much deeper. White prison vessel. Transit condition. Living lockhole consent. Lin Jin's blood ran cold. Xiaoman's choice was not only personal. The white prison system might require it. When the squad returned to the surface, Wuhe town was no longer pretending to be stable. It was loud, grieving, angry, frightened, and alive. Zhang Zhaoyue read the recovered data and said nothing for a long time. Finally, she looked at Lin Jin. The apostle wanted you to destroy the town to get the coordinate. Yes, but you found it anyway. Lin Jin looked toward the river. It thought I only knew how to cut. In his spirit wasteland, the nameless soul envoy gave the faintest nod. Yu Baishuang smiled from her throne. That is what frightens them, she said. Not your blade. Your refusal to swing it the way they expect. The fog over Wuhe town began to thin. Behind it, the road to K23 waited. Lin Jin knew it was still a trap. But this time, the Star-Lord Apostle had learned something too. Lin Jin was not a key that opened any door placed before him. He was the person who decided where the blade fell.